Hello, people of Earth and other YouTube watchers. Today I would like to speak to you about my February to be read. And read already, but mostly to be read. Alright, so it is February 2nd, and I've already finished one book, which was not originally on my to be read, and that book was To All the Boys I've Loved Before by Jenny Han. This book I decided to read I'd like to say it's because it's Valentine's Day coming up and everything, but it's mostly because I saw it on the library shelf and I'm like, hey, I wanted to read that book. I will have a book talk on this book soon, but until that occurs, it's a good book, so you should read it. On to the rest of my books. So I have 11 books on my current I want to read during February, which is probably too many, but oh well. The first book on my TBR list is Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, because I bought this a couple months ago and I've heard so much about it, especially from just the reader, and pictures, which is new in novels, and I really want to read it, and it sounds really, really interesting, and I haven't gotten around to it yet, so this will be occurring in February, I hope. The next book that I'm interested in is The Fifth Wave by Rick Yancey. My friend gave me this for my birthday in December, thank you Olivia, and it is a signed copy, say that, and I've just heard so much about this world, and I'm really interested in reading about it because I haven't read that much alien kind of invasion stuff. The only alien stuff I've read is the Lux series by Jennifer Armentrout, and I'm really interested in expanding this branch of my reading books interests. So yes, this is coming up in February. We're going to see how long it takes me. The next book I'm reading I have to read because I keep going, oh, I'm in a Cassie down. I have to only read Cassie books. I can't read anything but Cassie books, and I haven't even read all of Cassie's books. Because this still is out there, and I'm just obsessed with the Shadowhunters. No, okay, so I'm going to be reading The Iron Trials by Cassandra Clare and Holly Black because I really, really want to read it, and Callum Hunt is an awesome person from what I've heard, and I know nothing about it, but the back of it is really cool, and it's intriguing me, and it's like, fire wants to burn, water wants to flow, air wants to rise, earth wants to bind, chaos wants to devour. And it's just really neat. Anyway, so this is coming up next, and it will be read. Since the dawn of time, mankind has been telling me that this is a good book. Which is actually not true, but in 5th grade, my friend Emily was like, oh my goodness, Kristen, you have to read this book, it's so good, and I'm like, it doesn't sound like my type, because it's the Graveyard book by Neil Gaiman, and it says graveyard, and graveyard scares me, so no. But by this point, I'm kind of like, oh, that sounds really, really awesome, and I've heard a couple things about this, and I'm really interested to read it. It's basically about a boy who, like, grew up in a graveyard and was raised by the ghosts. And that's all I know about it, but it sounded really neat, and I'm so looking forward to reading it. And I bought it a couple months ago, and I haven't read it yet, and I will be getting it out of the way. February is kind of my ransack my TBR and read them all. So yeah, we're going to be reading this one. I'm looking forward to it. The next book I want to read is called Cress, and I don't actually have it. It's the 3rd book in the Lunar Chronicles. I just finished Scarlet in January, thanks to my friend Erica. Thank you, Erica. I'm really looking forward to continuing on with this series, especially since Marissa Meyer has new books coming out soon, and I just want to catch up and read because good. So I'm going to try and read Cress in February, but by this point we're getting into, like, a lot of books, so we're going to see. We shall see how well any of this actually goes. The next book I want to try and shove into my schedule is The Coolest Girl in Cold Town by Holly Black. Part of the reason I want to read this is because I have read practically no books about vampires. I've read The Vampire Academy and The Bloodlines, and I've read Twilight, but that's not a very large number of books, and I've heard that this book is completely different and really good, and I want to read it. The next books that I'm planning on reading in February I don't actually own in paper form or at all, depending on the book. But I'm going to go through them anyway because I want to own them, and I want to read them, so yeah. Alright, so I want to read Where She Went by Gail Forman, and I Was Here by Gail Forman, because they sound awesome, and I read If I Stay and that was really good, and I automatically wanted to read Where She Went, but I haven't gotten around to it yet, and February is kind of my getting around to it month, so going to read it. I will. And then I will read all of Gail's books because they are wonderful. So those are next. Also, I want to read Silence and Finale from the Hush Hush series. Those are the 3rd and 4th books by Becca Fitzpatrick, and I'm really interested in reading these. I have these on my Kindle, and I actually have the complete set of all 4, and so I've read the first 2, which is Hush Hush and Segundo? Anyway, I've read the first book and the second book, but I haven't read the 3rd or the 4th, and I just want to finish off that series, and so that's 2 more books, and I'm gonna see about finishing those this month. And there you have it. That is my February TBR. If you have read any of these books or are going to read any of these books, comment it down below and we can chit-chat about our intentions or about the book, and maybe that book will move up in my TBR. So anyway, comment stuff, like stuff, hit subscribe, all that funness. Until I see you next time, read, adore, and ship it more. Goodbye! Alert! Tell your friends, tell your enemies, tell your dog, tell your frog. That rhymed. Tell them my Kindle is missing. Now I'll find it somewhere. But it's missing. Yeah, where is it? Where's my Kindle? I just had this. Plus that's kind of like a bone version of the Silent Brothers. Which,